Hello, everyone. Allison here from AllisonRaves.co. What do you think of the intro, first of all? I don't know if I love it or I'll probably change it next week, but let me know. Let's take some votes in the comments. Let me know. And also let me know if you can hear me and see me. I'm going to jump right into it so that our replay is nice and easy to watch for anyone that comes on later. Today, we're going to be talking about the 5-step minimalist marketing funnel. So I've created a guide and there's a link in the description. Thank you, Heather. There's a link in the description for the free guide, and this video is going to go along with the guide. So this video will be embedded in the guide. The guide will link. They'll link to each other, so you can always find them. So it's a free guide, free training, and let's just kind of jump into it. So I'm guessing that if you're here, you probably have some ideas on like what a funnel even is. And so maybe just start in the comments, and I'll read them when I get some comments on like what you think a funnel is. Like what's your experience with a funnel? What's your perception of it? So if you have, I've got a course that is $47 or $27. It goes on sale. It's a tripwire, so you can get it at different price points depending on how you see it. But it's called the Minimalist Marketing Plan. And the Minimalist Marketing Plan talks in detail about what a funnel is. So we're not going to go super in detail today on what a funnel is. But basically, a funnel, actually, you know what? Maybe I can just Google it and show you a little picture because that's something that's fun about StreamYard. So if I look for marketing funnel and then I share my screen, this should be super easy and quick, then you see what a funnel is. So a funnel is this shape. Well, you know what a funnel is, but a marketing funnel takes people from first finding out about you. So a lot of funnels will call this awareness, to consideration, which is like now they're getting to know, like, and trust you. And then eventually we want to convert them. And to me, I always talk about two different phases of conversion. One is you get somebody's contact information for the first time. And another is you get them to purchase, and then hopefully maybe even purchase again. So that is what a funnel is. And I see in the comments, we've got herding visitors towards the info you know they need. Exactly. So what's the process of letting them know that this solution exists to helping them to find you specifically? Fab Life Now says automated system to make sales or book appointments. Yes. So a lot of funnels can be automated. Funnels can also be completely not automated at all. So I love to talk about, is this going to remove? Okay. I love to talk about real estate agents because I was in real estate investing for a long time. I was doing marketing for real estate investors and real estate agents. And a lot of their funnels, like, the more money they make, the more sophisticated they become, the bigger their team gets. If a real estate agent decides to have a team, they may be more interested in digital marketing and automated funnels. But real estate is also it's pretty known for not having anything automated. So you meet clients through networking or open houses. They sign up on a list, maybe with emails, often just phone numbers. Then you're nurturing people manually. That's your consideration stage. So your awareness is the open house. The consideration is networking, getting to know them, like potential buyers, potential sellers. And conversion is I got them to list their house or I got them to buy a house. So I've created this guide, and some of you have already claimed it, which is pretty fun. So I'm going to share my screen again so I can just kind of walk through this guide with you. And let's see, how big do we want it to be? I think that big is enough. So let's walk through this funnel together. So you can make a copy of this book so you can actually type in it. I started creating Google Docs a different way where you can actually like type in these boxes without messing up the formatting. I used to just like make a bunch of lines. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So you can file, make a copy, make it your own. So let's talk about a funnel. There's 5 steps to a funnel. I don't feel like I have to share my screen for this part. So the steps that I'm going to be talking about today are number 1, awareness, number 2, engagement, number 3, subscription, number 4, sales, and number 5, which is the one we can vary a lot after that point, is systematize. So I want you to think about, how am I getting in front of people? How am I building trust? How do I get their contact information? And then how do I turn that into a sale? And then how do I introduce systems to make that a little bit easier on myself? So maybe I will live launch a course every other month, but I'll also have an automated email sequence to sell a low-cost offer or whatever. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you don't know me, I've been blogging since 2011. I've been managing marketing teams since 2013, coaching, consulting since 2017. And I've done a lot of different things in marketing. And I've also been a business coach for a lot of different kinds of businesses, both in corporate and lots of online solopreneur type stuff. Also published my first book last year, which many of you have, which is so fun. So let's first talk about awareness. This is like, we've got to find a way to make sure that people know. So this is when you're creating your funnel, these are the 4 to 5 things you're really thinking about. The first one is like, how am I letting them know that I exist? And I want you to think about this in terms of, if you're really narrowing your focus to the least amount of work and the most effective marketing, I want you to break this down. This is all in the workbook, between short-term and long-term. And I want you to have both in mind when it comes to awareness. Heather, that's so fun that you're reading the book now. So short-term awareness versus long-term awareness. Short-term awareness leverages things that are not going to last a long time. So when you make a post on Instagram, there is like, people are going to see it within the next couple of days. But probably a post that you wrote in November of last year, it's never going to like pop off again, with some exceptions. Does that make sense? So we have I want you to think about, what is the short-term way that I'm getting in front of people? I also want you to think about long-term awareness. So long-term awareness focuses on content that can keep working after you've created it and will probably work even better after a while. So one example of long-term marketing is Pinterest. When you make a pin that links to somewhere on your site, there's a really good chance it's not going to get any traction right away. But a pin that I created 2 months ago is now popping off. I have no idea why. Pinterest is a mystery to me these days. But if I'm getting like 400 clicks a month now from that one pin, then to me, that's a good long-term strategy. Well, let me create some more pins today. So 2 months from now, I might have even more pins that are getting a few hundred clicks. Blogging is a good example of long-term marketing. Podcast is an example, kind of, I think, of long-term marketing. Even a book could be considered long-term marketing, depending on how else you're marketing it. We could probably do a whole training on that. If you guys are interested in learning more about writing books and publishing books, let me know in the chat. I would love to talk about it. I just don't know if I have an audience that wants to hear about it. So I want you to be thinking, maybe even commenting in the chat, like, and questions. So the first 3 people who ask questions in the chat, I would coach, and I can coach you either through the comments, or I can bring you on here, which means you're going to have to get on StreamYard. I'll give you a special link. Yeah, let's keep moving on. So short-term and long-term, how are you getting in front of people for the very first time? The next thing is engagement. So now that we've gotten in front of people for the very first time, I feel like I didn't say enough about that, about getting in front of people for the very first time. But basically, you're looking for 2 ways, short-term and long-term ways, that you are going to be consistent with and get in front of people. Okay, engagement. So now we've got their attention. Now we want to make sure that we are building trust and capturing their eyeballs. So I want you to think about engagement in 2 different ways. So with every single one of these sections, I explained this in the workbook, but I didn't explain it now. I'm talking about like short-term versus long-term. I want you to think about, how can I get fast results, and how can I be planting seeds for the future? Okay, so engagement. How can I get organic engagement? So organic engagement thrives first on making sure your content is interesting. And when I say organic content as opposed to curated, which I'm going to talk about next, organic is like attraction marketing. Like, I'm going to put the blog out there and people are going to find it through SEO. So how are you going to get organic engagement? If you're using Instagram, that's creating a good, high quality post, right? Curated engagement is how you can possibly force more results in the short term. So whereas if I write a blog post and I just put it out into the world, and hopefully someday people start reading it. Hopefully someday Google recommends it to people as an answer to a question. If I want to curate engagement for that same post, I could share it on my personal Facebook profile. I could send it to my email list. If I want to curate engagement on Instagram, I could be sending followers direct messages, or I could be direct messaging people a free resource that I would like to follow me. Of course, if you're direct messaging people who are not following you, you're probably going to end up in spam. So we have to be careful about that. So that is curated engagement. I forgot I'm not sharing my screen anymore. Hello, welcome back. Hopefully you guys have this free resource, so it's okay. So, and then you can use the little box here to write and plan after you make your own copy. The next thing we want to talk about is subscription. Now we want to get their contact information. And if you want to get short-term results and long-term results, I want you to think about passive subscription and active subscription. So passive is like, I'm going to put this out there and people are going to find it. So I'm going to embed an opt-in form in my blog. And these strategies work best when they're paired with valuable lead magnets usually. I'm surprised on my website, my pop-up that's been really successful, rather than saying like, here's your free X, Y, and Z, enter your email. I literally just say, join my newsletter. There's 6,500 other people on it. Actually, now there's 6,900 other people on it, which I'm going to scrub it. So it'll probably be less next month. But I'm surprised that that has worked as a passive subscription model. Active subscription is like, I am going to go out there and get people. So active subscription could be, I'm going to buy a table at a farmer's market locally and get people to sign up. Or I am going to run a giveaway, which can be really successful. It seems like a lot of hard work. I've done bundles, which I would consider a bundle active subscription. But I have not done like a giveaway, like a traditional giveaway. I'm curious if anybody here has ever done like a giveaway, not like a bundle. I did have a client do it who did pretty well with it. So active could also be running ads. So now I'm running ads. So I've got passive subscription. I get like 1 to 3 or so new leads every day just from my blog. And now I have active subscriptions. I'm running ads. Right now I'm spending about $900 a month on just lead magnets, and I'm getting them at like $1.50 for leads, which I was shook by. I kind of thought ads didn't really work anymore, or they were too expensive. And I just joined a $67 a month membership to start running ads, and I'm like shook that my ads are actually converting at a good cost. Who knew? Okay, so then we have to think about sales. And again, we want sales now, and we also want sales later, and we want them to be easy later. So we're focused on the short term and the long term. So short-term sales can include things like launches or direct pushes to a sales call. Launches create a lot of excitement and urgency, and launching, for a long time in my business, I never launched, but it's good to do a launch, even if, like, when you're a coach, you're going to make more money just by pushing people evergreen to a sales call. But even if you're just doing that, it's good if you have consulting or coaching or services to eventually do like a push for a low-cost offer, because it just builds a lot of visibility and trust. It's a different type of content than just your evergreen nurture content. And then you have long-term sales. So we want to make sure, like early on in my business, I was like doing a lot of DMs and a lot of sales calls. And now I don't do either of those things very often at all, because I worked on my long-term strategies. I worked on building an email list. I have more referrals now than I've ever had because more people have worked with me and know me and trust me and got results, especially in my services. But you can also focus on long-term by working on retargeting ads, by keeping clients engaged, and by pushing to get more referrals. Okay, and then systematize. So this is one I haven't taught about before when I've taught the funnels and the minimalist marketing plan. I don't think I talk about this at all. Maybe I do. I can't remember. But eventually, I want you to think about 2 things. Again, one is like, will help you with short-term results. Well, they're both going to help you with long-term results, but actually, I could probably put this in the reverse order, because I would say automations are more like the long term. And the bi-monthly or monthly focus is like the short term. This is something you can do no matter what. So by choosing a focus for every month for my sales or every other month, depending on how my energy is, it just gives me something, especially if you're a multi-passionate like I am, choosing a monthly focus just gives you a direction for your content. So like there's times where like right now there's like a few different marketing things that I want to do. So for February, I'm probably going to talk a lot about marketing, although I have a new nervous system coaching offer. I don't know when I'm going to tell you guys about it. Well, I just did. I have a new nervous system coaching offer. Eventually, I'll have to talk a lot about the nervous system to sell that. But right now, I have this free offer. I'm creating a $9 offer around marketing. And then I have a new other marketing thing that I'll be doing. So I want to talk about marketing a lot. That's my focus. It makes it easier because I could talk about manifesting and I could talk about mindset and I could talk about marketing and I could talk. I think I just had a seizure. I could talk about sales, but I want to talk about the thing that I'm focused on right now, which is like the minimalist market. I'm going to have a lot of things around that coming out. Anyway, that helps me narrow down my focus for my content. So like, let's say that you're in, what's a niche that I'm not in? I was going to say crafting, but I think I don't know enough about crafting to give you a good example, but I'm going to say crafting anyway. So if you're in the crafting space, you may have 1 month where you're like, I want to sell a principle on organizing your craft room. So then that whole month, you're going to be talking about that. And then another month, you're like, I really want to push my affiliate link for this Cricut machine, which I pronounced Cricut for so long. I did not know it was pronounced Cricut. But I want to get affiliate sales for this Cricut machine. That whole month, you're going to talk about Cricut, or for those whole couple of months, is building up the content around the thing that you want to monetize. That's what I mean by monthly or bi-monthly focus. And then we have automations. So in the long term, you want to create as many automated processes as possible. Even if you're doing a live launch, which is manual, like after you do the live launch, make sure you save all those emails in a folder. Maybe you even schedule all the emails and videos for your next live launch. Maybe you create an automated email sequence with all of those. But you want to create systems so that you can survive entrepreneurship. So you can keep doing it for a long time. Okay, so that's all I have. And then I have a checklist in here. And I really want feedback on if this is actionable because I'm not like a checklist person. So I was like, is this too generic? Is it going to be good to take action on? And I'm going to go and check out the comments and then we'll do some coaching. So let me stop sharing and see what we have here. I think I can show the comments like on the video. So, okay. Thank you, Chantel, for letting me know that you like the intro, and Heather. And then on my book, I love this. I read the book. My book is called Embodied Abundance. In December, I highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't read it. Of course, I'm going to highlight this comment. So you can find that on Amazon. It's only $17. I'm going to have an audio version of it someday. Yes. So Heather, Chantel, LaDonna, Fab Life Now, which I think is Allison. I'm going to do coaching for any of you if you have questions. Actually, if you're here, I'll coach you because we have tons of time. And I think there's like only 6 people that have commented. So I'm happy to coach anyone that has. And so let me know in the comments, what's your question? And then follow that with if you would like to come on video or, and this is live and public. So keep that in mind. Everybody will see this. And let's keep the topic around marketing, like your funnel, right? So it makes sense in the context of this video existing for that. So I'm ending my training here. We are starting coaching here. If you want to be coached, ask a question and let me know if you want me to just answer it, if you want to come on video. So I'm going to put this link. If you want to come on video, you can just use this link that I just put in the comments. And you won't show up until I like actually click you to show up. So we'll see who's going to be brave. Okay. I'm continuing in the comments. Allison says, do you vary this strategy for local-based services or is it the same? For local-based services, I've compared that to like a real estate agent. But if we're going to go through, the funnel for a local-based service. What's an example? Like let's say you're a therapist. Okay. So if I was a therapist, you could be doing online marketing too. But I would say, like, what would be good, and you guys can chime in the comments too, for a so if you want to come on live to be coached, Allison, you can click that link in the okay, good. I see LaDonna coming on. Okay, so let me finish answering this question, then I'm going to bring LaDonna on first. So, therapist, like for a therapist, you might want to do Instagram, right? I'm going to post locally on Instagram. Actually, I'd probably do for a therapist locally, I would do Google My Business, like for a local business. On Google My Business, you don't have to have like an address anymore. You can just have the city. So I actually have AllisonReeves.co on Google My Business. I'm going to start doing more local marketing myself too. So I would do like Google My Business for your short-term awareness, and that could actually benefit you for long-term awareness too. And then you could do blogging and a YouTube channel as your long form. For engagement, if you're a therapist, I don't know if I want to go through every single one of these examples. But the answer is yes. You can use this as a local business or an online business, and it can be, there's lots of flexibility here. So I'm going to bring on LaDonna first. So LaDonna, I'm going to click on your face and you're going to appear on the screen. It'll be magical, but are you ready? Just give me a nod. I can see you. Okay, great. Oh, she's so tiny. Let's make her the same size. Hello, LaDonna. Good to meet you.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, what's your question?
So we run multiple businesses. I have a clinic, I'm a naturopathic physician, and then we have an apothecary as well. So I'm making a big shift in how we're blending those businesses and what that really looks like. I love teaching, and I don't know that our audience really understands that. They think they're going to go to the doctor or they're going to buy tea from an apothecary. They don't really know that there's a blend in there. So we're launching a teaching / like kit kind of a program. Where do I need to be focusing that funnel more? Because I feel like it looks streamlined to me. I don't think it presents streamlined to them. So I'm wondering if I should be focusing more of the attention on this program, or if I need to run 3 funnels for 3 different things, and have I just created more work for myself in the process, which is what I do.
Yeah, that's what we all do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. So taking a step back,
Sure.
What is your like primary goal right now in the business?
Freedom.
Freedom. Okay.
Yes.
And so you have a clinic, and then you have the apothecary.
Yes, I really love the teaching component of it. I feel like we've got a lot of really shoddy information out there that's available. So having somebody who's actually gone to school for this changes that teaching component. I would eventually like to, I mean, ideally, I'd love to teach and run the apothecary full time. But at this time, the doctor side pays the bills a little bit more so. So I'm wanting to kind of merge them into this one area. I don't know if I actually answered your question or not.
No, I have even more questions. So, so you're making most of your money on the doctor side,
Mm-hmm.
and that means like having clients come into an office, right?
Yeah,
and that's how are you
like
getting those clients?
Magically, God seems to like put them in my path. I don't really advertise a whole lot. And I think, my excuse for that is the people that need me find me. Really, probably the truth of it is because it's very energetically exhausting to me. I'm very introverted. I'm very I want to be the mad scientist behind the scenes, and I'll pop up to teach a class, and then I'm going back behind the curtain again to develop the next thing. So doing the thing that pays the bills is yeah, we got food on the table, but energetically, I'm just bottomed out all the time.
Yeah, it's like your short-term solution.
Yeah.
And so instead of just doing that, you want to do what instead?
I would rather do the teaching, and I mean, if you said,
Teaching, and what does that mean? Like teaching how?
It really kind of teaching health concepts that I feel like everybody needs to know, but teaching
Online?
herbalism. Yeah.
You mean like teaching? So you want to move from having in-person clinic clients to teaching online and getting paid for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you gotten any sales for that yet?
Off and on. I'm really good about launching something, and then the energy runs out, and I don't carry through. And I'm really hoping that's where the funnel will do some of the nurturing, because I know that's where my weak spot is. I've got great ideas. I can put it together. I can make it look amazing. My follow through stinks. And I know that's part of the
You might
issue.
be do you know your human design? Are you manifesting generator?
I'm
Yeah.
absolutely a generator. So like that sacral center is like spot. If we were in a bad situation and I say, let's run through that door, just follow me. Like
Yeah.
I got this. Otherwise I'm like, okay, we're here. What do you want to do now? So,
Okay. So this is really helpful. So you have gotten sales before. So my answer is, if you're getting sales organically for the clinic, now you want to be getting more online sales. That's where your focus is. So now let's figure out like how to get more of that. So you've launched and that works well. So tell me about what's the price point and how did you sell it and to who?
So we've really just worked on the launch part, because the whole behind the underneath the surface thing is that this is really reconnecting us with that history. The Home Healer Project is all about reconnecting with like those traditions that we've lost since Facebook and Pinterest showed up. And now we get our information from there instead of from our grandmothers and our aunts. And so I'm wanting to reconnect that differently. So really, it's just been kind of building up some of the interest for the project itself through our social media outlets. I started building a better email list. I had a lot of people who were interested in it. And then winter hit. And for some reason, this winter seems like it was a lot harder on everybody, and everyone lost steam and everything just kind of paused. And so I didn't execute that one probably when I should have, in the middle of winter when everybody was thinking about health.
What's the price of the course?
Like this, we've got a make and take coming up. I haven't put together like the whole course package yet, but we've got a make and take coming up at the end of February, and it's $45. Sorry, I have the loudest puppy. $45, and it includes their class kit and me teaching basically.
What's the price? What's the price of the thing that has already sold?
So this is the first launch that we've done for it. So we've sold all kinds of other stuff in our apothecary. Our sales do well with our teas and tinctures.
You haven't sold the teaching yet?
This is a brand new thing.
Okay. So that's what, so how, but you've sold products is what you were saying has been successful. Okay.
Yeah.
How much money on average do you make every month from products?
Our products are really low right now. So we're clearing probably about 1,000 or so in a month.
That's like, you can pay some of the mortgage, buy some groceries. So that's good. It's not like $30. So you've got some traction there. So to sell, it's a different model. So like you're not going to know if it sells until you sell it. So I would really focus on like minimum viable. I would really focus on your email list, and then you're going to have to test messaging. So like when you do the first launch of the teaching, like if it goes well, take notes, do it again every quarter or whatever. And then in between launches, so like eventually you can automate it, but before you know what works, you're going to have to do it manually.
Okay.
And then every time something works, it's a template for the next thing.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm coming up with like launching every quarter. I think energetically that feels like manageable.
Yeah. And it works because from a health perspective, like I have a masterclass series that I taught every season, and it was just, how do you take care of your health in this season? Because it changes every single time. And there's a whole different set of products and teas and herbs that work in those seasons.
I love that. I would launch every quarter. And so then your whole minimalist marketing plan, your checklist is kind of built around that.
Yeah.
So then your timing of like between launches, your goal is to get more people to sell to.
Yeah.
Especially on your email list, because email, like, if I post on Instagram, 5% of my followers see it. Whereas if I send an email, I get a 40% open rate. So it's like, I feel rewarded for my efforts with my email list.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to build your email list, collaborating with other local businesses, maybe even running ads.
Okay.
Which I like. And now I have renewed passion for that because it's actually working. And like not even making any sales from the ads, but just growing the list between launches to have more people to sell to. So we went all over the place. I don't even think I answered your original question, but do you know where to go?
I didn't have like a really well framed, but I figured you would take it wherever it needed to go. So
yeah, I
was trusting that.
Cool. Great. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and coming on. And I'm going to remove you from the video. I'm going to get to a couple questions in the chat. Thank you again, everybody. Clap for Madonna Bravery live on YouTube. Okay, getting to a couple questions in the chat, and then Alice, I'm going to bring you on. Alice and I are longtime internet friends. So Catherine asks, I don't want to come on camera, no problem. I'll show this here so you guys can all see. How do I get over imposter syndrome? I've been a digital consultant for over a decade, but trying to transition to online sales and keep hitting roadblocks. How do I get over imposter syndrome? So I'm curious. I don't know what's coming up for me is like some wealth wound stuff because, which is in my book. You can also, I have like a million different blog posts on it if you don't want to spend $17. But I think when you're an entrepreneur and you have imposter syndrome, it can often be related to a worthiness wealth wound. So with a worthiness wealth wound, we feel like we're not worth the thing that we're going after, either because we didn't grow up with money, we think we're not good enough, smart enough. So like I can get a little bit of limiting beliefs in my head because I talk about the nervous system a lot. And I'm like, do I have the credentials to be talking about the nervous system all the time like I do? Which is why I got an accredited certification. So I'm not a doctor, but at least I have something in my back pocket. And I'm also wondering, Catherine, if you have a routine around elevating your mindset. So I don't think I have them with me, but I have these mindset card decks that I created, and I have a whole mindset routine that's in. There's a new course I have called Dream Revival, which is like one of my favorite things I've ever created. But in Dream Revival, so even if you don't buy it, I have a framework for helping you work on your mindset on a consistent basis. So write this down. You like a good framework for a mindset routine to help you with imposter syndrome is to first of all create a vision map. So this is like a vision board or even just a list of things that you want. And then you want to practice feeling into those every day. That will help you become an energetic match for the things that you want, but it also helps reveal the specific limiting beliefs. So when you're reading these things that you want and they feel like they're not possible, that's an invitation now to create an affirmation and to look at that. It's like, I want to be able to work at home full time. Now that feels impossible. That feels like I'll never be able to do it. Feels like I don't have the skills to do that. Well, that's interesting. Why do I feel that way? What evidence do I have to that? What evidence do I have that that's not true? So creating a vision map and then creating the second most important part of this whole routine is just finding evidence that you are worthy of the things that you want. I could talk about this for a long time, but let me know, Catherine, if that's a good start and we can go into that more. And Chantel asks, what is your best advice on getting overwhelmed and actually starting when it feels like there's so much on the to-do list? You're not going to like this answer. Nobody will. But the answer is you have to shorten the to-do list. I think it is, most of us have like too many things that we think are important. In 2018, this is right when my personal blog was taking off before I sold it, I did a minimalist challenge, and it was like a 21-day challenge. And every single day, I just looked at removing. So at first, that was like, I decluttered my kitchen massively. I decluttered the bedroom. I decluttered the closet. So at first, it was all the physical stuff. But then it was like the mental stuff. I was like, oh, I feel this weight lifted off me. So then I started looking at what in my daily routine is just not doing anything for me. So at that time, I had a full-time job and I was pinning on Pinterest in the morning. And then I had a full-time job. And then I was running Facebook ads for people in the evening. And I was getting burned out. So when I did this minimalist challenge, I was like, okay, if I want to pare down what I'm doing, what's most important to me right now? Money. Money is more important to me. Am I making money from pinning on Pinterest? Not exactly. Kind of, sort of. I was starting to get ad revenue, but I was making much more money running the Facebook ads. So I thought it's more worth it to me right now to focus on the ads for other people and to stop pinning so I get that time back. So when you're looking at your to-do list and you're really overwhelmed, my first advice is like, what is the minimum viable? So I'm curious, Chantel, what's on your to-do list, But if you're looking at it from the funnel perspective, you're only looking at, like, if you have never done anything, it's going to be hard to decide what to do. But if you've done something, you want to look at like what has worked. So, for example, I have a client who she started blogging a few months ago. So I'm like, she's pinning on Pinterest and she's blogging, which is getting SEO traffic. So I'm like, ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at the data, because she has a hobby blog for people who are retired. And I'm like, the things that start getting traffic are the things we're going to focus even more on. So on Pinterest, her journaling posts are popping off. On Google, her chocolate posts, how to make chocolate, are popping off. So now we've got focus. So Chantel, I would say, like, there's things you're doing like that might be investing in the future, and there's things that are doing that are bringing in short-term results. If you have really limited time and energy, and if you get overwhelmed easily, I would probably focus on the things that are short-term results. Or if you don't care as much about money right now and you just want to build it for the long term, then only focus on the long-term results. Kayla says, this is a good suggestion, to decide what to do. Have you tried the Eisenhower matrix or even asking ChatGPT? I'm honestly obsessed with this suggestion. It's such a good idea. If you want to give it, ChatGPT, a list of all the things you're doing and say, like, I'm having a hard time deciding what's important, can you tell me what to do? You might get some suggestions. Okay, so if you have, this is a great clarifier. So I haven't done anything yet. I have my blog that I'm trying to post more consistently on. I'm also making posts on Twitter and Instagram. If you're growing a blog and you want to make money with the blog and you're new, the only thing that matters is new blog posts and getting better at SEO. Because you can't grow an email list or make any money until you start getting traffic and clicks. So I've narrowed down your task list, Chantel, to one thing, and that is blogging, writing more, getting better SEO. That's two things, but invest in Rank IQ if you want to make money with the blog, and I can give you my affiliate link. Okay, moving on. Allison, are you ready? If you give me a nod, I can see you. Okay. Hello, internet friend.
Hello.
All right, what's going on?
Okay, so as you've said, we've been around the block a bit. I've done the blogging and the coaching and never been super successful, only because I just didn't really have time to spend on it. But so always doing that alongside my professional day life. Still am doing that, but now I've shifted into being a therapist, as you use that as the example. So that's shifting totally local. I've gone on my own. I quit my job this year, well, in October. I know it's been a huge step and very exciting, but it's a total shift of mindset and how to build these funnels, right? I think you still want to do a funnel because you need to get in front of people. You need to bring them to your website or to your contact information. You need to get them to call. You need to get them to book a consult call, similar thing, to get them on board with you. The thing is, it's a very smaller like I can only work in this state, right? Because of licensure. So I guess just how do we translate that? And my thoughts, Google My Business. Yes, I've got that dialed in. The problem is I'm online provider. So I have my address for my home, which is kind of out in the boonies. And so it only serves up so much of a circumference around you. So the next, which is funny because now I'm coaching other therapists how to do this and
there you go. I love it.
How to build their SEO and their website. That's where I'm making the money right now. So my next frame of mind is how do I be really thoughtful of finding those local people? Because I don't know, Facebook, the stuff I've done for blogging is so widespread that it's kind of hard to shift that focus. I'm thinking like LinkedIn and honing in on business professionals in the state of Arizona, or Facebook, local Facebook groups, and is where I've been just networking and stuff like that to get that engagement. How do you turn that kind of thing into a funnel? Do you have some thoughts? Because I know you've done this with your realtors. It's real similar.
Yes, super similar.
Mhm.
So I would find, and I'm actually doing this for myself now too. Like I'm being called into like working with people in person more. And so I've been thinking, and you'll have to think about, for me, I'm an introvert. So it's like doing in person is like very energetically draining. So it's like, but I realized partnering with other people where I can bring them value would be a way for me to grow my local list. So how can you, like, there's this group in Houston called Fourth Friday Divas, where they just get together every fourth Friday, and it's a bunch of artists and creatives, and there's other marketing professionals, but finding a networking group that's really fun with women who are professionals, I think would be a good move locally. So I think you're close enough to big enough cities where you can find something
Yes,
like that.
I
So
am.
meetup group, you can look on Facebook and just start attending a few. How are events for you energetically?
I feel uncomfortable when it's just super free flow, but I can talk to people when I have the opportunity. So like I went to a networking event kind of like that. It was for women in business the other day. And when everyone was just milling around, I get nervous and I go sit in a chair. But if someone sits next to me, I can start up a conversation. And so I can figure it out, kind of like you. I'm an introvert, but so it's good. I have to work up to it and find someone who I can just kind of easily start talking to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so keep practicing that and find events that feel fun. Like you'll find something that feels like your space. But then anytime you can, like, I still think like farmers market, other women's events, like I spoke at a summit last week, but I bought a vendor table at it and it's not that expensive. And then I'm one of 10 vendors with cool things on my table. And that was super fun. I love doing that. I've done that one other time where I didn't end up getting any sales or leads from it, but this time, I made really good connections. I haven't gotten any sales yet, but really, really good connections. So yeah, finding things you enjoy, or maybe even something I'm thinking about is creating my own thing. It's like, what would make it easier for me energetically is to have it be exactly what I want. Yeah, and then like the funnel is easy from there. So the awareness is what you have to figure out. It's like, how am I getting in front of people? I could see you hosting free events and getting people together, but your goal at these events is grow your email list. So you're getting business cards, you're getting email addresses. That's your singular focus, is getting contact information.
So email lists are still a high focus for local businesses. Okay. And then I was thinking of combining it with my other email list and doing more of a newsletter like I was for a while that had mental health and financial wellness and, stuff kind of combined. So it's more like a magazine informational newsletter. Is that seem reasonable to you, or is that too far-fetched?
Yeah, I think as long as it's your focus for the people who are local needs to be your services. So as long as the email is relevant to your therapy, and as long as you keep those people obviously like segmented so that you can always send them a separate email.
Okay.
Because you can do things like, are you taking insurance or no?
No.
Okay. So like, I think an opportunity is like, having recurring billing, like, and having, one session is the most expensive. But if you're doing 4 sessions a month, it's going to be a lot lower cost. If you're going to commit to work with me for 6 months, then that's going to be a lower cost. So incentivizing commitment, just like you would in a coaching relationship. You can do like sales and stuff too for Black Friday, etc.
That's perfect. I did do that. There is some ethical things with our state where some people think that's forcing them into therapy or something like that. So you just have to have caveats that they can get reimbursed or refunded at any time, which makes it a little hairy, but I've still had success with it. My first consistent client has paid me for 3-month increments to get a little lower rate. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't even have to pay in advance. They could just be on recurring billing to get that reward, so to speak.
Good point.
Getting paid in advance is cool. I love recurring billing though. I used to really want to get paid in full most of the time, and now I have no preference. I just love when money comes in.
Don't we all?
Yeah, cool, great, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. All right, LaDonna, yes, I am in Houston. Anybody else in Houston? You want to come to my events that I'm going to host in the near future? Any other questions? Thank you guys so much for coming on a video. And this is a new thing I'm feel really good about, like trying and doing, is just going live on YouTube like this more often. So, oh yeah, Heather, we just met, right? Did I meet you last week? Because I had a Heather that I met last week. Yeah, the Growth Summit. So going back to like what's important, I'm just going to show Kayla's comment here. So urgent and important, do this task immediately. Urgent but not important, delegate this task. Not urgent but important, schedule this task. Not urgent and not important, delete this task. So you can pause the screen and read this whole thing, but I think she's explaining the Eisenhower matrix. Kayla also just commented, I have a new offer for content repurposing. Advice for messaging to find qualified leads who are willing to actually do the system. It's beta, so I'm really looking for that proof factor. So Kayla, when you said you were doing content repurposing, I thought you were doing it, but you're just teaching people how to do it. Is that right? So if you're teaching people how to do it, it's a low-cost offer. And one thing, I don't know if I put this in the workbook or not, in this free minimalist marketing funnel, but your funnels are, and the way that you sell things is going to change a lot depending on your price point. So if I'm selling coaching, if I'm a real estate agent, even a therapist, if I have services, those are all, I mean, therapy isn't like high ticket, but it can be if somebody's with you for a long time. But those are all like real estate, coaching, consulting services are generally high ticket services. So the way that you're going to sell those is going to be different than if you're selling low ticket. So if you're selling a course, Kayla, on how to do that, that's probably going to be on the lower ticket side. So that the messaging is one thing, but you really have to think about getting a lot of people to look at it. Because if you want to make a lot of money with low ticket, you have to have a lot of sales. So advice for messaging to find qualified leads who are willing to actually do the system. I think I would create, this to me sounds like a really good offer to have pieces of it in like a bundle, or even like a tripwire version of it where people could do it, like get results really fast. Like what is part of the repurposing system where people could get output really quickly, get a big win? Because that might be something good to sell as like a tripwire. So she says it's kind of a blend. She walks through the how for X number of pieces of content, high touch but VIP, so it's a fast turnaround, but teaching to fish, not services forever. I wonder if that could be, so the messaging around this has to be, because if the messaging is selling like you'll have a bunch of content, I don't think that's compelling enough. The messaging has to be, this will make you money. That's what the messaging has to be. So I would, from your own work, from client work you've done so far, teaching the system, like how does content repurposing lead to more sales? Because that's the messaging around it, I think. Definitely open to other people's opinions, but I'm not going to buy something that's giving me work to do unless I feel like it's work that I have to do to make money. Make sense? Okay, I have 10 minutes left. Any other questions? These are great questions. LaDonna and Heather are in Houston. You're going to come to my events. My events are going to be probably for entrepreneurs, and they're going to focus on both marketing and business stuff, but also I always want to have a nervous system component. And I want to practice more of the intuitive stuff that I do without saying it's intuitive. It just is. Great. Thank you guys so much for coming. Advice for early stage VA business. So virtual assistant businesses are awesome. Service-based businesses, I've had a lot of luck and enjoyment with. I think if you're offering virtual assistant services, getting people to, I've seen some VAs who give away work for free in exchange for testimonials. I think that's tricky. I'll say, as someone who I've been offered those free services in exchange for testimonials, and I sometimes I can't implement. It's like outside of what my focus is. So I let the person do the free work because I want to help them out, because I'm getting free work, and then it's not really a focus. So I can't really give a super valuable testimonial. But I think the first thing with being a virtual assistant is just to get clients of any kind. And then your next thing is to focus on, like, more specifically how you're helping, because that will make your marketing sexier. So I have one client who was a virtual assistant, but she works for a lot of people who do big bundles. And she actually helps me manage my bundles. And I'm like, I feel like that is sexier messaging. Like, rather than saying, like, I'll help you with your operations, which is important, but people can't always grasp onto the value of that. Saying, like, I'll help you organize, like, large collaborations, because the value of it is really clear. Like, when you're hosting a collaboration, you're chasing cats. The cats are the people who are in the collaboration. They are hard to get information from sometimes, don't follow up right away. So if you can help me with that, you're a professional cat chaser, a cat herder. So that's what I would say, Brenda. No, who asked that question? Yeah, Brenda, for the early stage VA business, is you've just got to get some clients. Like, do the work pretty cheap, figure out what you like doing, figure out what you're good at, and then figure out how you want to specialize. She says, I can be a cat herder. Well, you might make a good executive assistant too then. Cool. Good question. All right. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for my feedback on the intro. I might have a different one next week, and then we'll vote. Or maybe I'll just change it every week. Thank you guys again so much for coming. It's like really fun for me when people come. It was super fun for you guys that came on live, and I will see you all around on the internet very soon. Okay, bye.